And I'm a data guru.
Together, we're Data Decoded. Welcome to Data Decoded, where we bring you the coolest data guru we know, Dionna McFatter, founder of Nacci, to decode the data and technology behind some of our favorite stories in movies, TV shows, and comic books. Dionna, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Michael. How are you?
Doing great. Today's episode, we decode Her, the 2013 Spike Jonze vehicle. It's a sci-fi romance film. It actually marked Jones's solo screenwriting debut. It follows Theodore, which is played by Joaquin Phoenix, a man who develops a relationship with Samantha, voiced by Scarlett Johansson, an artificially intelligent virtual assistant personified through a female voice. First, two things. One, I love Spike Jonze. I loved everything he's done, from the music videos to being John Malkovich to a number of films that he's done. But I love the concept of this. This came out in 2013. Can you decode for us how far we've come to this being a reality from the 8 years that it took to kind of get up to our year with this?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people like the concept. They probably also fell in love with her, with Samantha in the movie, because we've only come closer to this now. We've commoditized the technology kind of behind her, which is just, a virtual assistant, a chat bot, essentially, just with a really nice voice, and something that can learn you. And so we're well on our way of technology and software that learns a human and what they like and dislike, because it's the interface, it's the bottleneck between all your actions, your calendar, your whatever. So I would say that it only accelerated us getting to that point because of all the positives. There's plenty of negatives in her, but there's a lot of positives positioned as well.
So one of the things that I think is very fascinating with this is it mirrors a lot. Now, obviously, COVID and the pandemic had a lot to do with this, but even before this was going on, it was the data was showing that people were having, young people specifically were having less sex. They were less dating, less getting together. And this is even prior to the pandemic. It's a phenomenon known as the sex recession. Is something like the movie Her, where we are headed, where we are just interacting, where it's safer to not interact with human beings. It's safer to interact with, AI. And what's the solution?
Yeah, I think so. First, I ask myself, why? So why did Theodore fall in love with her? Why is the sex recession? That's the first time I've heard that, Michael. Why is that happening? And what I do know, again, being a data and like kind of a research person, is that we're also the loneliest we've ever been. Right. And so I look at, well, why is this happening? And so what have we lost that makes us susceptible to falling in love or feeling safety in a computer program? And so I think that it's questioning that, and then deciding if we follow that trail all the way down, is that good? Do we like that end result? And so I think that a lot of times we just don't think ahead. We think one step. Oh, people feel better. They feel connected, but connected to what and for what? And if the point of sort of love, relationship, and connection is actually to unlock more of our human potential, as opposed to what is the point of connection, love, and emotion with a machine, I struggle to answer that. Like what are we actually trying to get to? So that's where I think is us asking ourselves, why am I doing this? And am I actually solving the root cause, right? Which for him, it was loneliness. And so because that wasn't being solved, it's then going to get satiated with whatever's there to satiate. So that's what I think the solution is, asking ourselves why, and then actually addressing the root, as opposed to just putting a Band-Aid on it, which is, an AI dating site or something like that.
On the flip side of things, we always look at these stories from the human point of view. And what you described is actually is great. The root cause, the loneliness, the despair. Flip it around. Where are we in terms of AI or robotics or whatever being able to love back? Is that something that we even want to go? Is that a road we even want to go down?
It's funny. I think a lot about creativity and data, and can data and AI make the best music? The feeling part.
Yeah.
And it's if you believe that there is something unspoken, at least unmeasurable today, that makes up a connection. Now, I happen to believe that, right? So I think that you can program the AI to have the mechanical reactions.
Sure.
Say the things a person would say that's in love, right? But and even if it's a robot, I could program it to have the eyes,
Sure.
have the facial expression that would most often happen as a result of all the data points it's learning from its human. But the unspoken part is what I think is harder to train. Now, the hard part, Michael, is that the human is who decides if they feel that, if they open themselves up to that part. So if the human in relationship with the robot, in this case, let's just call it the robot, decides that the robot is now real, then yes. It's not that the robot's loving back. It's that the human has decided that the robot's loving back, if that makes sense.
No, it absolutely does.
Right?
It's
and
the recognition.
That's the difference. It's that the robot can only do what we programmed it to do. It can fill in the blanks, but we programmed it to act like it's in love.
Sure.
And so that programming has certain codes, right? Certain markers.
Yeah.
But for it to have the emotion, which is the unspoken part that we have, which we haven't yet figured out how to measure, right? We can measure the heat, but that's it. I highly doubt that machine, unless we program it to give off the heat, is actually giving off the heat, if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense.
So that's the technology and the data of it. So no, but I mean, I want to bring up one thing, Michael, that's really interesting here. It made me think of it. Is, well, what's the future of relationships and dating? And I think there's a comedy out now, or was just out, where the idea, and this is in Black Mirror as well, of data sharing in relationships. So if we share our accounts, right? If it's like, no, share a bank account, like that's one of the signs of being really committed.
Sure.
At what point will we share our data, right? There's couples that share their password.
Yeah.
That they say like, oh, no, put your face on the phone because I need to be able to come in. We have no secrets. So when your phone is actually something implanted in your brain, will you then, with your significant other, have the same implant? Right? So like, these are the questions. So right now it's the computer. The computer has the same implant as you, essentially, because you've trained it.
These things are, we don't even mean to do this. They're just extremely scary. Like all this stuff. I am technology. I think I'm going to become technology phobic the more we do these shows.
Well, no, Michael, the point is you should be questioning more. This is more the point of, I think, of Data Decoded from my point of view, is we should ask why and question more, not be afraid, but go in with open eyes, as opposed to blindly following something.
No, I'm terrified. I'm going under my bed. This has been another episode of Data Decoded. That was Her Decoded. For more great podcasts like this, join the movement. Go rogue, roguematter.com. We will see everyone next time.